Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first of two UNC field site info sessions. We are going to talk about 3 of the 4 places that you see on this map, but I do want to mention, I guess I can make this a little bit bigger, one about one of the other field sites. But first, let me introduce myself and Ken, and then we'll have all the field site directors introduce themselves when they present for their particular field site. So I'm Susan Cohen. I'm with the Institute for the Environment. You'll see me on the very bottom of the big web page for the field site. So you can always send me a question about anything. And I just help organize a few things. And Ken, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Welcome, students. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ken. I work in the study abroad office, kind of behind the scenes, helping our field site directors put these amazing programs together. I love info sessions because it's a great opportunity for everyone to kind of get their questions answered and learn more about each one of these unique locations where you can study for an entire semester with your peers and some amazing faculty and scientists. So, welcome, everybody. I hope you get all the information answered that you need today, and excited for the apps to open up very shortly on the 15th of November.
Thank you, Ken. That was perfect. So students, there's this whole team, and there's other people you don't even see here. There's budget people, there's admin, there's all kinds of people that support these field sites. But most important is for y'all to hear from the directors tonight. So I just want to point out a few things about this very opening page. The website is right here. I'm going to post this everywhere, this flyer, but all you have to do is Google UNC Institute for the Environment and you will get to the field sites, or Google UNC domestic field sites or study abroad. There's numerous ways for you to stumble onto these field sites if you just forget everything. So don't despair. You can find us. We have 2 info sessions. We also have one next week, and we post these info sessions on the field site web pages. So I encourage you to go visit them and learn all about them, and all the information's up there, but you're going to hear it first from the directors, which is great. I want to just point out one thing before I turn it over to Rada, Dr. Petrick, who's going to kick us off, is the Sustainable Triangle field site. I encourage you to go to the website, the UNC-IE website, and you'll find Sustainable Triangle field site. Those applications are open. That is the spring semester coming up, so spring 2025. And I'm not going to tell you any more about it, except that it's amazing. It's on Chapel Hill's campus. So it's the field site experience, the same cohort capstone foundation, but it's on campus, and you can almost meet your entire sustainability minor. So go check that out on the webpage, and applications are open. So I'm going to, there he is. That kid just had to do it, didn't he? He's the, So the field site directors live at the field sites. They have families. They're embedded in the place. So we're catching a little bit of that right now. We're going to do it alphabetically. We're going to start with the Highlands field site. So Rada, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to mute myself. And students, you can put questions in the chat. You can raise your hand. We'll have a little bit of a presentation from everybody. We'll have lots of time for Q&A.
Can you all see this?
Yes,
thank you.
That's perfect.
That's my son. He's doing a volunteer opportunity here at the bio station, the Enchanted Forest. We're all about Halloween this week. But my name is Rada Petrick, and I am the director of the Highlands field site. And at this particular field site, we really do focus on ecology, conservation, and science communication. And I just want to shed a little bit of light on what it's like to be at this particular field site and some of the adventures that you get to go on, as well as what do you guys actually get to do here and what do you learn? And this is just one of the pictures that you will probably see on your daily basis, because this is literally right outside of your dorm. So moving on. So as mentioned, this is precisely what we're actually focusing on. But I wanted to discuss a little bit about the classwork and some of the things that you really get to explore with the Highlands field site. We do get to spend tremendous amounts of time outdoors through these outdoor learning experiences, hands-on experiences. So you get to spend more time outside than you do in the classroom. You get to explore lots of really interesting and unique places. So you get a really deep dive into the Southern Appalachian Mountains, and you learn about their ecology, conservation, the cultural history, all sorts of things. I will talk about the independent research projects. You get typically paired up with one of your cohort mates, and that then you get assigned a project with a faculty member or somebody or a professional from a conservation-based agency. You also get to do a group capstone, which has been focused on microplastics. And one of the interesting things that we found this year is that Hurricane Helene brought in more microplastics than what we typically collect in an entire year of regular, microplastics in this region. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the field trips and so forth. But specifically, I want to provide sort of a list of courses that you will receive credit for. You would receive a total of 17 credit hours. Of course, we already talked about the capstone and independent research project. You do get a remote sensing class and landscape analysis in which you learn ArcGIS, how to process remote sensing data. You also learn our studio and statistical analysis. So taking all of this crazy information and synthesizing it and being able to make sense of it and basically analyzing your data, which is also helpful for other projects. You have a human impacts class, science communication, and then cultural history class. And of course, I am a bat nerd and I specialize in bats, and happy Halloween this week, everyone. You will get to learn more about bats than you would ever want to know in your entire lifetime. But the cool thing is that when you guys arrive here, you actually get to live at the Highlands Biological Station. So see, this is one of those outdoor learning classrooms that you would be part of. So you get to learn and stay at the Highlands Biostation, and everything is at your fingertips. We have pretty simple accommodations when it comes to your housing. All of the students are staying in these dormitories. And then, as I mentioned, we do have classrooms that are indoors, we have labs, but then you also get to go outside and go to the outdoor classrooms, which is really neat. And that's our nature center in the back that you can visit on a regular basis. And also you get to spend a lot of time outside, as mentioned previously. So we have these three-day-long field trips to the Great Smoky Mountains. Is the very first field trip that we take. We also get to go to Cades Cove and you bike around. We also go to a completely different side of the Smokies at the Purchase Knob, which is that picture in the middle, and then Rome Mountain. And then we get to explore sort of these really unique places with day trips, and we take, river rides in our kayaks and explore areas, and we also get to go ziplining. And I just want to show a couple of pictures of some of the places that you get to see. This is Roan Mountain, and just learning and exploring, understanding the ecology, the importance, and how communities really work together, and then conservation, of course. And these are some of the other really awesome views that you get to experience. So you get to swim in waterfalls or underneath them. You get to rock climb if you want to, or if you'd like to learn, but you just get to explore these really fantastic places. And if you're lucky enough, you also get to experience a little bit of snow towards the end of the semester. So here's just a couple other fun pictures from these experiences. So swimming in waterfalls, and then the other end of the semester, it gets pretty cold. So it's getting chilly already. And then I just want to reel it back into the independent research projects. We have a bunch of projects that we have worked on in the past 4 years, and those change from year to year, but some of them remain the same. But with every single project, you learn the entire scientific process from start to finish. And you get lots of hands-on experience, you get to work with your mentor, you get to work with your partner, and you really go through the whole process. So it's a fantastic experience overall. You get to learn a lot, but at the same time, you also get to, actually learn as a scientist, which is amazing, and you contribute to a pretty substantial data set. Some of the projects have the capacity and capability, depending on how much work you want to put in, that they can be published towards the end of your research, or maybe next year if it needs additional research. So we have several students who are in the process of writing and publishing their manuscripts so far. And so here's a couple of other really fun pictures. This is last week at, along the Appalachian Trail at Pickens Nose, and the students, this is where we went rock climbing. What are some of the other things you can do at Highlands? There's some really cool art places and an art center that's completely free. There's a rec center and a pool, lots of hiking, lots of exploring, and every Friday and Saturday night, there's live bands for at least 8 weeks when you first arrive here. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Please check out our Instagram account. Our students run this completely. It's called highlands.ie. And if you have any specific questions, please feel free to contact me directly.
Awesome. I'm up the Highlands right now, y'all. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. And we will shift to the coast, jumping all the way to Morehead City. Dr. Hall.
Let me see if I can share this.
Ken put some links into the chat for everybody about the Highlands and linking to RADA. And remember, if you get lost, just UNC Institute for the Environment and you'll find field sites, no problem. That's a great shot right there. We've got such pretty photos. It's so easy from these places to have amazing photos.
It's harder to find. There we go. Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm Nathan Hall. I'm the director of the Morehead City field site. We're down at the coast in Morehead City, and we focus on interdisciplinary research on marine and coastal ecosystems and the human impacts on them. So there's a good picture of our research vessel, the RV Capricorn, with a bunch of people in the water going diving. So the Morehead City field site is housed at the Institute of Marine Sciences, and the Institute of Marine Sciences is part of the Department of Earth, Marine, and Environmental Sciences now. So we have an on-campus representation, and then Institute of Marine Sciences representation of our department. And these are some pictures. That's the front of the building. That's some people doing research in our environmental chamber, and then a picture of some ponds behind the Institute. So the little blue dot there, that's Morehead City. So we're on, we face a lagoon, Bogue Sound, and then just offshore of us is the Outer Banks. That's Bogue Banks is just offshore of us. Just east of us is where what we think of as the Outer Banks really starts. So Pamlico Sound and all that is just to the east of us, and we do work out there as well. So there's a lot of estuarine habitat immediately available to us to do all kinds of research on human and environmental processes around estuaries. And so the first thing I want to talk about is that class. Rachel Noble teaches a class called Human Impacts on Estuarine Processes. And in that class, you learn about all kinds of effects of people on estuaries, but then feedbacks of those effects on the people that live there. And so this presentation actually, if you go to the course, you'll see this again, because I just robbed a presentation that I was going to show for a second orientation for this talk. But also Joel Fodry's class, it's a marine ecology course. In that course, you'll learn all kinds of things about fundamental ecological processes and concepts of how we model those. So those are the two of your core classes. And then there's a seminar series where we invite speakers, a lot of local speakers, which is kind of cool because you'll hear about things that are going on in the local area from experts, and a lot of times you'll have already learned a little bit about them from your classes, but you get to like really drill down into particular topics from these local seminar speakers. But then we also try to pull in people from all over the country, even sometimes internationally, to come and give a broader perspective on, you know, estuarine or marine topics. And so in that seminar series, usually you'll do a reading before the seminar and then have conversations with the seminar speaker afterwards. So it's a really nice way to actually see, not just learn about a topic, but also get a broader perspective on what kind of job opportunities there are for people that come out with a degree in environmental sciences or biology, or the concentration in marine sciences, for example. And then there's the capstone project, which is it's what I teach, so I really enjoy it. And every year the capstone project is different, so I can't tell you right now what next year is going to be. We haven't decided yet, but it's always some kind of environmental problem, and there's almost always a client. So this year our client is the Rachel Carson National Estuarine Research Reserve, and we're trying to give that research reserve information about how to manage one of their islands, Carrot Island, in the face of really, really rapid sea level rise and terrible erosion problems. So the group of 16 students right now is undertaking a wide range of research topics, but all in that theme of giving information to the reserve to better manage their land that is rapidly going away. And then there's also the independent study project. And like Ramila said, this independent study projects are really great ways to learn the scientific process from the very beginning of making observations, posing research questions, developing hypotheses, all the way to carrying them through with statistical analyses and writing it up. And a lot of these do end up getting published. Can't give you an exact percentage, but I know of the 4 honors theses that I've had come through, 3 of them are going to be published. I just finished the proofs of one of them yesterday. So I think we do anyway, pretty high percentage of these get published because people spend especially if you're doing an honors thesis, it's not just 1 semester, it's 2 semesters, and then and actually usually then some. I've never had, for me, it's never happened in 2 semesters. It's always been a little bit of work afterwards, but with persistence. And those are absolutely, if you are published as an undergrad, it is like the best thing in the world for getting into grad school. So keep that in mind. Also, with independent research projects, you will never work more closely probably with a professor ever again, except maybe, in grad school. So you really get to know your mentors, and they can write you excellent letters of recommendation for grad school or for fellowships, that kind of things. It's really a great way to have that contact time that leads to great letters of recommendation. Okay, this is just talking about the capstone project, which I just described. I don't know if y'all can see the cursor, but this island here is the one I was talking about that is rapidly going away. Especially on this east end. It's losing a lot of land mass really quick. And one of the important parts that you can't see in this picture is the open ocean is just to the south of this island through Beaufort Inlet. And without this island, the town of Beaufort is completely exposed to the open ocean. So it's not just that we want to save the island for the island's sake. We want to save the island because it's protecting a town of 10,000 people that the whole local economy revolves around the tourism from this town. Let's see, went through that already. Just some pictures. There's all these independent study projects that I was talking about. wide range of topics. There's people right now, some of the students are studying horseshoe crabs, the stormwater problem and the pollution that comes along with the runoff from stormwater, scallops, improving numerical models. In this case, it was oyster feeding, deep sea fish diversity, how to treat cyanobacterial bloom problems in local water bodies. And then the paper that I just was working on proofs was the ecology, this strange little amoeba that lives in a shell that I've just been curious about forever, and finally had a student just start to look at what is this little amoeba that's like the most abundant eukaryote in the water a lot of the time. Throughout the summer, it definitely is. And yet there's like one paper on it in the literature. So, and we're not down at Morehead City alone. The Duke Marine Lab is 3 miles down the road. NOAA's on the same island 3 miles down the road. The North Carolina Maritime Museum, the North Carolina Aquarium at Pine Knoll Shores, the North Carolina Estuarine Research Reserve that we're partnering with on the Capstone project. Also, NC State's lab is, we basically share a parking lot with them, as well as the Division of Marine Fisheries, the Division of Coastal Management, and I'm forgetting a few others. Pew Foundation has a presence in Morehead City. Anyway, just a huge, for such a small community, we're only about, Carteret County, 70,000 people, but there's a huge marine science and management presence in the area. And so we leverage that with the field site, in particular with the independent study projects. About a third of the independent study students actually work with somebody from these other groups. And what that allows us to do is to match students with what they're really interested in. Because, at IMS, we only have 10 faculty. We may not have the expertise in what you're interested in, but I guarantee we probably know somebody in this broad network of people that do have expertise in what you're interested in. And so we use that. We actually use our partners to house you too. So the field site students stay at an apartment complex that's owned by NC State. And just a picture, they're nice townhouse apartments, and they're conveniently located to lots of different stuff. You can walk to IMS, or it's a more convenient bike. It's about 3/4 of a mile, but yeah, it's nicely located for the field site. And there's lots of fun stuff to do. Beaufort is a really cute little quaint tourist, used to be a fishing town, now it's a tourist town. The North Carolina, or the Cape Lookout National Seashore, is a $10 ferry across the sound, and it's really, Cape Lookout has the prettiest water in North Carolina. So while you're here, if you want to see like water that looks like you're in the Bahamas, you go to Cape Lookout and you can look down 20 feet and you can see the bottom, and it's beautiful. And with the RAs, we always have a fun RA in the field site, and part of their job is to make sure everybody gets to do really fun stuff. So there's paddle boarding and kayak trips and camping trips, and lots of adventure. And there's no meal plan. This is just a reminder for the people, like, if you're actually coming, there's no meal plan. You feed yourself, and there's lots of good seafood around here. So you got to learn how to cook seafood. And I think that's it. The rest of this is, yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I should have my email address on here.
I think we're gonna crank through Lindsay's, and then we're gonna have a lot of time left for questions at the end.
Right.
I don't know what baking soda is, Lindsay. It sounds disgusting.
Let me stop sharing.
You can go ahead and answer the baking soda question right now, Nathan. Let's go ahead and answer that. What is
Thank you.
baking soda?
Surprised.
Baking soda. I don't even.
Bacon soda. It was in your.
Oh yeah. That was something that it was I don't know. You'll have to ask Tony, because Tony
Okay.
put it on there, and I kept it because I thought it was funny.
So y'all, before we jump to the Outer Banks and Lindsay and Linda, I just want to, in case it wasn't clear at the very beginning, I just want to make sure it is, that these three field sites, Highlands and Morehead City, you've heard from, you're about to hear from the Outer Banks. They only run in the fall. And we are talking about you applying for fall of 2025. Just, I had this moment that all of a sudden that we weren't clear about that. So I just wanted to make sure that was really clear. And you've started to hear some themes come out because the field sites are really different, but they're all the same in the sense that you're going to do amazing research. You're going to spend a lot of time outside. You're going to get to know your professors, get great letters of recommendation, build your resume. You're going to work on real world problems, right? So you've heard about them at the two now, but you're going to hear the same things at the Outer Banks, but it's just going to be with a different slant. So they're really amazing in that they share these sort of core parts to them that we can talk about again. Like they all have a capstone, so things like that that they share. Okay, Lindsay, go ahead. And
Hey.
Linda, hi Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Can you all see my screen? Okay, awesome. Let me just make it a slideshow now. Great. So, hi, my name is Lindsay Dubbs. I'm the director of the Outer Banks Field Site alongside Linda Dana, who's also here, and hopefully you can see her. Linda, do you want to wave? We co-direct the Outer Banks Field Site, which is on the northern Outer Banks. So I'll show you a photo in a minute to orient you to where that is. As Susan said, it's a fall semester program, and we focus on integrative sciences and policy, which means there is a balance of natural and social sciences. So we include coursework and capstone work and independent projects on law, policy, and management as well. And we offer diverse academic approaches to public policy and natural resource management, extensive hands-on experiences in analyzing and presenting data, and that's both natural science data and social science data. And also, just like all of the field sites, lots of memorable experiences outside the classroom. These two photos on the right are not memorable experiences outside the classroom. They're from within classes. So this is our annual trip to Lake Drummond, which is in the Great Dismal Swamp at the top right. We go kayaking there every year that we can. We missed it this year. And then we also used kayaks to build an oyster reef down south off of Pea Island, which is in the Cape Hatteras National Seashore region. So as I promised, this slide is orienting you to the places. So the field site itself, as well as our housing at the Manio Community House, is on Roanoke Island, which is in the middle of the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. It's just a few miles from the Barrier Island beaches. And we use this campus at the Coastal Studies Institute, which is on the East Carolina University Outer Banks campus down here. This is a photo from the spring, so you won't see these flowers. But it is a beautiful campus nonetheless, overlooking the sound. And we, as I said, the students stay in this guest house. You can either share a room with another student or have your own room. They kind of look like this, and they're great common areas, kitchens, 2 living rooms, a lot of outdoor space, porches, and you're within the quaint town of Manio. And Manio, you can bike to restaurants, bike or walk to restaurants, and grocery stores and all kinds of things. That the CSI campus is about 4 miles from that housing. But the most important thing that I want to show in this map is that we really spend time all the way from Currituck County and Corolla, all the way down to Ocracoke Island, down here through your Outer Banks experience. So we take field trips, overnight field trips to Currituck and Ocracoke. We visit all of the beautiful places in between along the Barrier Islands, and also, depending on the capstone project, spend some time inland. This area is over 50% in conservation. So it is a very pristine environment. If you love nature, it is a wonderful place to visit. Oops. So this is a 17 credit hour program. Our classes are very small. We limit the enrollment here to 13 students. Usually we keep it to about 12. It is a very interactive, applied, and hands-on learning environment. You can see some of our boat trips, water quality labs for ecology class, kayaking on the Sound with the resident advisor, doing some sifting for macroorganisms in the swash zone at the beach, and also learning from a Sea Grant fisheries expert here about different fishing gear. So we address environmental issues through multiple lenses, and it is a it is a deal, I would say. The cost includes housing and is less than or equal to that of a semester on campus. It's especially a great deal for out-of-state students, and that's true of all of our field sites, where you would be saving money to have all of these great outdoor experiences as a out-of-state student. So like the other field sites, these are our courses and the credits that they count towards. We do have a capstone project like everyone else, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. There's also an internship or independent study at this field site. There's an ecology class with a lab, a management class, a coastal law and policy class, and a seminar on coastal issues. And really all of these classes count towards most ENEC majors and also towards a lot of bio majors and public policy. But except for the seminar, and the seminar is just like at the Morehead City field site, we do have researchers and managers come and give presentations either during the lunch hour or during evening presentations. And it's also the way that we get to go on a lot of our field trips, where you are immersed in the natural and human communities along the Outer Banks. The coastal law and policy course is taught by a number of different lawyers, practicing environmental lawyers in this region. The sustainable coastal management class is taught by Linda Dana, who is a human dimensions ecologist, and the ecology course is taught by me, and then Linda and I teach the capstone course together. The internships here provide you with experience working in a policy or research environment. So we have a lot of internship placements with planning departments. We also have just pure policy internships and a couple of coveted law internships. So this provides an opportunity to learn from a professional or conduct independent research under CSI faculty direction. These are some of our internship project partners here, planning departments, law firms, state and federal agencies, different research institutions, NGOs, environmental education facilities, and environmental consultants. And just to give you an idea of the different types of projects, Jared here had an internship with the horticulture department at the North Carolina Aquarium. Kayla did a research project, an honors thesis project with me in Currituck Sound. And Julie here did a internship project with the National Park Service on Cape Hatteras National Seashore. The law internships don't have as compelling of photos associated with them, or at least we're not allowed to share them if they do. As I said, there are also labs and field trips associated with this course. We go to a lot of the interesting places on the Outer Banks, like Jockey's Ridge, as well as kind of hidden gems here, like the Pea Island Preservation Society. We do classroom labs on a number of different topics, usually depending on what our capstone project is. Do a lot of work on beaches and for boats in our sounds and in our harbors. Just like the capstone projects elsewhere, you get this really hands-on opportunity to ask research questions, collect data, analyze those data, interpret them, and present them. Ours is a little bit different in that we have natural and social science research techniques that are taught as part of that capstone project. We always have those two things together. And so you can see these are some examples of social systems approaches that we've used in the past: mental modeling, interviewing, ethnographies, and surveys, alongside natural system approaches like vegetation transects, soil sampling and analysis, water quality measurement, and satellite imagery and geospatial analysis. We apply these to whatever topic we address in any given year, and it does change most years, but sometimes we repeat capstone projects. So recently, this year, we are talking about change in the role of controlled burning in the marshes of Currituck Sound. Last year, we did a project on artificial light at night, and then did community perceptions of vegetation change in Buxton Woods. A couple of years prior to that, we studied septic systems. We looked at living shorelines, and we've also looked at predators. So really, the projects run the gamut, but we do also partner with some other entity here as a client. So this year we are partnered with the Audubon Society, the Pine Island Sanctuary, and also the Currituck Sound Coalition. And these are some students that are working on mental modeling here at the bottom, and this was collecting some vegetation data in Buxton Woods. Finally, you'll have plenty of free time here to explore the inner and outer banks. Students in the past have enjoyed the beach and riding waves. We typically arrange for surf lessons to accompany wave lessons at the beginning of the semester if you're interested. We also have a lot of students that love to fly kites at Jockey's Ridge, go fishing, and also just hang out in these beautiful coastal settings. And if you're interested in learning more, please visit the UNC-IE website, visit our blog or our Instagram. And these are some photos from this past year. I didn't get a chance to update all of these slides, but up at the left here, you see Valeria doing some capstone fieldwork in Currituck Sound. A bunch of the students enjoying the beach and the sunset on the beach. Actually, yeah, I guess it's a sunset at Jockey's Ridge Beach, playing in the water next to one of our piers. The top right photo is also from Currituck Sound region. It's so beautiful. The water was really high that day. And then in the bottom, this is a photo from the surf lessons at the very beginning of the semester. Linda, did I forget anything?
You did amazing.
Okay, thanks.
I'm always a little bit overwhelmed after the three of y'all present because I'm like, how am I ever going to choose where I'm going to spend my semester? It's almost too much to be true. Lindsay, thank you for remembering cost and to remind everybody that out-of-state students pay in-state tuition. That's great. Our prices have been adjusted a little bit. So I would say all the field sites are either equal to or a little bit above the current cost on campus, but it's less than $1,000. I think it's actually 800 and something, less than $900. There is a fantastic, yes, thank you, Ken. Full budgets will be posted the middle of November. So, you know, it's right before the holidays, right? You can take your laptops home. Don't do a lot of work over the holiday, but maybe show your parents the info session. You can talk about the cost. There are great financial aid packages, both through the regular routes, through study abroad, and through the Institute for the Environment. We strongly believe that your financial situation will not stop you from going to a field site, so we will figure it out. So, but we like to talk early about it, and you'll see some questions on the application. So those were things I wanted to mention. And now I just want to open it up for questions, or if any of the field site directors remembered that they wanted to say something. And if not, I may just ask my own questions that I have. So
I think definitely when you're looking at the budgets, keep in mind when we say the cost of attendance, that means we're including tuition, program fees,
that's right.
housing, meals, you know, the same as living on campus. So it's almost the exact same cost as living in Chapel Hill, whether you're in Highlands, Morehead City, or OBX for the fall semester. And since you are a UNC student during your time, no difference. You can use normal financial aid that you would receive. Plus, we have additional scholarships through IE and the study abroad office. So for most of you, if you're already receiving aid to go to school at UNC-CH, you should be able to receive that same package while you're a student on one of the field sites.
Those are all good points. If you have to leave, which is totally understandable, I'm glad you could make it, and check that IE website. We will post this presentation there. And remember, you can find us. Just do a little bit of Googling. Okay, any questions? Thank you, Michaela. How does housing work when we get back to campus in the spring semester? Ken, are you informed on that?
Yeah, you would sign up for housing and say that you're doing the field site in the fall, and then they would just place you into housing for spring. I'm not sure exactly how they preference your choice, but there's always spring housing. Fall is usually the tougher semester to find housing on campus anyways.
If you're in an apartment situation, that's kind of yours to figure out, right? How to sublet or get out of a lease or get back into a lease. But hopefully this gives you enough advanced planning to take care of that. Lindsay. And her
Yeah,
very
I just wanted to say that one of the things that we've noticed here is that, as you say, it's hard to get into the housing in the fall. And also you make very close friends at this field site who you know that you're going to get along with. And so sometimes that provides opportunities that you didn't even know about for housing, where there's a room open in one of your cohorts housing situations, and you get to continue to live with them. And that's like the best situation possible, because you don't want to be apart from them after you're spending every day with them.
right. It's weird. So plan now, plan early, but there is a housing alternative. It may not be your preference, but it sounds like early planning is the best way to go. The application process, Ken, you're probably most familiar with it, but it's pretty standard as far as the information that the study abroad office will ask you to put, to include some financial aid information, some demographics, some academic information. What else, Ken?
Yeah, pretty easy. I don't want to use the word easy, but pretty easy application. And I would say most students are going to get their top choice, although some of these field sites do sometimes hit capacity. So definitely put your best foot forward on your original application. The field site directors will review all of them, and they do their very best to select all students that are committed to going. In some cases, if they're at capacity, they might either offer a wait list, or if there's another field site that maybe has a spot, we'll reach out to students and say, hey, would you consider a spot in this field site? Also, we do look a little bit at class rank. So we know that if you're a junior, for example, this might be towards the end of your career at UNC. So we try to get those students in. So sometimes if a program is at capacity, we may tell students, hey, you're going to basically have guaranteed admit the following year. But I would definitely put your best foot forward, apply. Everything's due January 31st. We let students know that they're accepted in February, and commitments early March. So by March, you'll know that you're going to one of these three sites for fall 2025. So you can make all those arrangements with housing, life, things like that. The field site directors do a great job doing orientations over the summer virtually. So you'll get to know, everybody that you're going to spend the next semester with. So yeah, I've worked here 2.5 years. I'm always really impressed. They do tend to mostly or completely fill up, but I would say most students that get their apps in pretty early, put their best foot forward, in their essay and application, explain why this is, best for you academically, professionally, and socially as well. Like, those three reasons, you'll get in, and you'll have a
Don't
wonderful
dilly-dally
semester.
though. If you look at the trajectory of number of applications and how fast we fill up, every year it gets a little bit
Yeah, it's
more and
starting
more.
to.
And I think we had a couple sites, I can't remember exactly, that went over capacity with applications, and I don't know where those students stand if they're on a wait list, but that definitely happens. Megan, sorry if you already addressed this. What year were these programs for? So we're immediately talking about fall of 25. However, maybe you're a freshman and you're like, no, I'm planning for fall of 26. That's fantastic, right? We want you to plan ahead as far as you need to. The applications that open November 15th are for fall of 2025, but we would love it if you were also planning for fall of 2026 or even fall of 2027. Imagine it. It's hard to imagine. So, but the current applications are for fall 25. So the field sites are on the housing application for this next fall. So that's just asking for clarification, Ken, that when you fill out your housing form, there's a way to note that fall 2025, for example, you won't need housing because you'll be at a field site, but you need it for spring. Looks like-
Correct. I can't
Okay.
100% say if it's in the app, but you can always email housing and say, I submitted this app. Here's my situation. And housing works with the study abroad office, whether you're studying abroad or doing one of these field sites, to make sure that you have housing for the term that you need.
Yeah, so we know that it happens where you can have housing in the spring, but not for the fall, but take that extra step, email housing, maybe give them a call, just verify, double check. You don't want to find out too late. Your parents won't be happy. Yes, Megan, you can apply as a freshman, and to do the program as a sophomore. Let's see, anything else? Anything else we're forgetting? Field site directors, looking at you. What are we forgetting?
I was just gonna say some of the best students we've had have been sophomores.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage sophomores to apply. Don't take
Yeah.
what I said about class rank literally. Sophomores, juniors, seniors, we definitely like to see students apply.
And y'all, we feel really strongly the field sites for everybody, right? So maybe you don't want to spend your whole career out in the field digging up dirt. Well, that's okay. Come, but maybe you want to explore research a little bit, right? And you want to try it on, and you're going to meet so many of your requirements anyway, right? You're going to meet your capstone, your experiential education, other gen eds, right? They're just these amazing experiences with your cohorts, working with scientists who are solving problems, and you get to be a part of their world now. And that's a pretty extraordinary thing. I'll say that. And there is no bad site. You don't have to be a marine biologist to go to the coastal sites. You don't have to be a policy expert to go to Lindsay's site. You don't have to know anything about trees or the mountains to go to the highlands, right? There's something for everybody here, and all the sites are pretty amazing. I love the field sites. I'd go to a field site.
Oh,
I do. I love the field sites. Y'all know how I feel about them. They're just amazing, and they're amazing for so many reasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You don't have to come with specific like knowledge bases. Don't be intimidated whether you feel like you're prepared, or maybe you should hold back a year before you apply so that you can gain more knowledge. It's not necessary. We will teach you all of the things that you need to know.
I'm going to teach you all the stuff.
Everything. I'm just kidding.
I think that gets to the prerequisite question from Rachel, which is, I don't think any of us have prerequisites, right? Yeah.
I don't think so either. No.
No.
I mean, you should be interested in the environment, right?
Yeah, I think if you're here today, that's already a great sign. You have interest, and hopefully you can make this happen for fall 25. It'll be the time of your life. You won't regret it. I guarantee it.
No, we talk about that a lot. We talk about how everyone can only think of one student who was sorry he went to the field site, but it's because he went to two of them back to back and I think was bored or something like that. I can't remember the details, but
I remember them, but I won't share them.
okay. If we are in between two field sites, who should we talk to get more informed about what path to follow? I think you should talk to both of the field site directors. First thing I would do is I would go to the website and I would check out the blog, right? I would hear, right, that's right, directly hearing from the students, right? I would read up a little bit more about the classes and where they're situated, and then I would get in touch with the field site directors and talk to them about what you're interested in, what they're thinking about.
Yeah,
we
ultimately, our
also gonna
website's
do-
only going to allow you to apply for one. So you can definitely consider all three. But when you have your mindset. Go in and apply for one. It won't let you apply for two. If you start an application for one and then change your mind, you could just let study abroad office know, send us an email, and we can switch it out for you. That happens. But yeah, do your research, talk to the field site directors, talk to other students that have done the program.
Flip quarter.
At the end of the day, though, I say this with full faith, is that you're not going to regret any of the decisions you make. That they're all wonderful. And I think something that you'll look back proudly 10, 15, 20 years from now is one of the coolest things that you did while you're a student here. Probably be in your resume and be something you're going to talk about in interviews forever. It's going to make you stand out from your peers, any of these three. And something quite unique to UNC that we're able to put these sites together. Unique to North Carolina too, that we have these coastal sites and the sites in the mountains. You know, I lived in the Midwest for a bunch of years. We couldn't have had sites like this here. So just being a UNC student, you're lucky that these are options and that we have dedicated team to put these together to keep these affordable. And we're always here to help answer questions.
Absolutely. Parting words from our field site directors, words of wisdom or anything. We have another session coming up on, let me do a quick screen share just to remind everybody. So this is recorded. We're going to post it. We have another session on November 6th. Maybe you want to watch again, you want to think about it and come and ask more questions. Just tell your friends about it, whatever. And the website's still here. Okay. Last final words from our field site directors. Anything?
I'll just say what Ken said. We hear it all the time that students come back and tell us that their time at the field site was the best time and they learned the most of all their time at UNC. And we hear it over and over. And I know the other field sites do too.
I completely agree. Yeah. And we also can write great recommendation letters for you because we get to know you really well, and we get to experience your abilities, doing field work, doing lab work, interacting with other students, working independently.
And they do this amazing internship at the Outer Banks, and then whoever they're working with is another extraordinary letter and reference and a growing part of your professional network, really. That matters.
And, you know, unlike going abroad, you could still head back to Chapel Hill and see your friends every now and again, or go to a football game or something. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So do it if you can. Put your best foot forward, apply, and reach out to us if you have questions between now and the app deadline. We're always here to help.
Awesome. This was great. Thanks, everybody. I'll see all the field side directors next week, and I'll get this posted.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everybody.
much. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
everybody for tuning
Thank
in.
you guys for coming.